Welcome to the Hall of Echoes of the Grand Library of the city of Zahra. This is where reports arrive of discoveries, expeditions, and events already shaping the world. Some are confirmed, others survive only through witness. I am Idris Nahir, Keeper of Echoes. I mark what is known and I name what is uncertain, because silence is also a choice. These are the matters before Zahra. Welcome, friends, to the Grand Library. Normally, I would talk about how beautiful of a morning it is, and how grateful I am for your generous companionship on such a wondrous day. But I think all of us know, given the situation in Zahra at the moment, that there is much pain and suffering in this world. I will not pretend that time is beautiful when fighting breaks out in the streets and in the skies above. I have received an unfortunate update regarding the three kinfolk who have been missing since Yorgios' birthday celebration. Their names are Demetrius, son of Raven, Julian, daughter of Curacao, and Xanthis Lightstep. It's been a week since our last symposium, and 10 days since the celebration, and none have returned home. Investigators are no longer hanging their hopes on this being part of the celebration. Rather, something more sinister might be afoot. If you know these three kinfolk and have any information that could result in bringing them home safely, please help bring these families some comfort by sharing it. I will now show what I know of these kinfolk so far, in the hope that it might spark some latent memories of them in the audience today. Demetrius, son of Raven, 30, is a loyal member of the Dwarven Labor Union. He's fought hard for the rights of workers in the past. He is unwed, but his brother, Andres, is a close confidant who has been searching for him. At first, Andres thought he might be within the ranks of the Dwarven Labor Union, fighting against the Stormshapers. But nobody has seen him since the protests broke out. Demetrius was injured while working several months ago, and despite the pain, forced to continue working or be fired. It seems Andreas is under the impression that the Stormshapers might have a hand in this, and is demanding answers from them directly. They, however, are preoccupied at the moment, but more on that later. Julin, daughter of Curacao, 28, is being searched for by her husband Christos. 3 months ago, she experienced a tragic accident as she was struck by a royal carriage on her way to work within the palace. She received a dire head injury as she fell and has been tended to by healers. She and her husband amassed an insurmountable debt owed to the hospital, so much that they've had to delay their plans for starting their family. She was last seen at the palace on the night of the celebration, tending to guests. Finally, Xanthis Lightstep, 20, was last seen wandering the streets during the parade. Xanthis' family reported her missing later than the others, as she's always been less reliable about coming home. She has a minor criminal record for pickpocketing and assumed connections to the Banu Asrar, but the family denies that. Investigators are hard at work to bring them home safely. Turning to other news, it's been disheartening to see the Dwarven Labor Union once again fighting against the Stormshapers Collective. When you last all gathered here in front of me, the protest had just begun. Members of the Dwarven Labor Union had protested, refusing to work to attempt to get the festivities for the Malik's son recognized as a holiday. The collective did not take kindly to that. They have cited incredible monetary losses within the members of the Dwarven Labor Union not working for a single day. And now their retaliation has sparked a protest the size it has become. They have lost even more. It seems there is a simple solution for the collective to resume working, but I won't harp on that. The Dwarven Labor Union fights in both body and with their spirits. I'm sure you've seen the grand, almost deific battles happening in the sky above us, mimicking that of the spirits fighting the old gods. It's been truly phenomenal to watch, but the weight of it has been heavy on my chest these past few days. All the Dwarven Labor Union has asked for is a day to be recognized as a holiday so they can celebrate alongside everyone else in the city. Recognizing that doesn't seem like a major loss to me, but I suppose I am not of the mind of the Stormshapers Collective. I should count myself lucky for that. Now, how about we discuss some current events before digging into the meat of our symposium today? You might have noticed the river has been shut down. No trade is coming in or out of the city, and because of that, prices have inflated for everything from flowers to furs. Panic is already ensuing among citizens trying their best to purchase wares because we do not know when the river will reopen. As we were gathered in a public forum here today, I implore you to think kindly of your neighbors. Do not take more than you need and leave some for others. Many of the spice markets are being closed down too because of the rioting. The horde keepers have deemed it dangerous for them to operate their shops when their wares could be destroyed by fighting. I, for one, shall miss watching their small spirit dragons lazing in the sunny patches on my daily stroll. The Hollowed are very busy in the streets, tending to everyone, it seems. They have been helping both the Dwarven Labor Union and the Stormshapers Collective, ever the neutral party. They have been busy as of late, and any help, I'm sure, would be vastly appreciated. The kinship of the Chimes of Harmony have allied with the Hammerbound to protect residential areas from rioting. Next time you see any of them on your street, be sure to thank them. Without them there to protect you of their own volition, I might add, your homes could very well be riddled with flaming arrows. Even with all this in the air, it is my conclusion that the illuminated petal might be the most impactful people for this moment, for what is more powerful than words? I've heard many a ballad composed these last few days about the brave fighting of the Dwarven Labor Union, and I've seen several very entertaining larks about the collective. They've constructed tales of heroes and martyrs fighting for this cause. These music and stories are being taken to the aristocrats of the city and performed, getting them on the side of the common folk. I have high hopes that their influence can help cure this blight being inflicted on our city. But even beyond the rioting, chaos has unfolded in the great streets of Zahra. I might like to find myself in a land of the third signs rather than walking through the market square. It would make more sense, I'm sure. Much has been happening both above and below the surface. There's an interesting saying in context here today. For something to happen below the surface means some sort of tidal or seismic shift is upon us. Knowing what I know about the documents I'm going to read you, I can say that's true. And the fact that it all might be playing out right in front of our eyes makes it all the more peculiar. You might remember the talk of an artifact when we last spoke. That artifact has caused quite a stir within the streets of Zahra. The Answering Effigy, as it is now known, is potentially very powerful, and every people in the city is vying to get their hands on it. I'll admit that I have been involved in some investigating myself. Sometimes it can be quite fun to leave the confines of my study in the library, after all. I do not know what this artifact is capable of right now. I have my theories, which I will keep to myself until more is known. But what I do know is that an impressive feat of arcana machinations that, if the rumors are true, must be protected. It could be the key to helping us understand the unraveling and a way to preserve our lands. I have for you today a series of journals and correspondences between prominent members of peoples within Zahra. You'll be surprised to see some of the allegiances and connections between them. I know that I was. I think that just goes to show you how important this artifact truly is. These documents were obtained through various sources, many of which I will not name to protect them. But please keep in mind that the documents I'm reading to you today are not known to the public as of yet. I should not have most of these, and the aftermath of reading these publicly will perhaps be as grand as what we are seeing happening in the skies above us. Without further ado, I shall begin. From the Journal of Judge Redress of the Banu Asrar Tribunal. The artifact is gone. We did not know of its importance right away. The artifact was obtained by accident, seeking retribution for Ilay, daughter of Canaan, a young girl who lost her life due to dismissive medical practices favoring the wealthy of Zahra. When Banu Asrar obtained the artifact, we used the powers within our means to decipher what it meant and why it was created. It was stolen from Ismail Masalis of the Veiled Chamber. When he realized the artifact was missing, he orchestrated a city-wide search for it. Normally, that would not be a concern of ours. Our vaults are secretive and well-maintained. We do not understand how this could have happened. Writing this now, I feel anger roiling in my chest. The artifact was ours. It was owed to us, taken from a cruel and careless leader of the city. Its absence was penance for Ismail, a lesson he needed to learn about equality. One can have it all and lose it a moment later. Now it's a lesson the Banu Asrar is learning too. We do not know how we lost the artifact yet. There was still so much for us to learn about its existence and purpose. The artifact itself is sentient. It could hold conversations, give guidance, keep records, almost as if it had a mind of its own. It is of great importance that we find this artifact once again. A tool like this in the hands of the aristocrats of the city could be used to further their advantageous position over everyone they see as below them. I can only imagine the cruelty they would rain down. We shall begin questioning members of our ranks in the morning. Someone is bound to know something about the disappearance. When we find who stole it from our vaults and ran off with it, they will know the wrath of justice. From the Journal of Constance Simeon, Arbiter of the Veiled Chamber. Ismail Masalis is a fool. How could he let this artifact slip from his fingers so easily? He tries to excuse himself by citing the loss of his daughter, but I have no sympathy for incompetence. To hold something so powerful within the hidden walls of his home is an oversight I cannot accept. With each passing day the artifact is not within the grasp of the chamber, my anger towards him grows. We've questioned countless members of the Banu Asrar and have struggled to come up with any meaningful information. None of the petty thieves and grifters, underlings the judges use as the face of their people, seem to know anything about this artifact. However, all the questions might prove useful after all. We hadn't heard word about the artifact in days. Most of the rumblings in the city were about the riots. But just this morning, I received correspondence that the Banu Asrar is also searching for this artifact. That means they have lost it. It's roaming around the city somewhere, in the hands of unknown people. Perhaps they're less formidable than I anticipated. While this information is promising, I am at a standstill. We don't know who has taken this artifact. Are they allied with the Banu Asrar? Perhaps they're a pesky member of the Adder's Hand looking to steal this in order to protect it. But we don't know what other members of the city are aware of. We have much to uncover, and I fear a little time to do so. Others will be searching for it. It's not surprising. The arcane item trade has always been a lucrative business. Whether or not kinfolk or people in the city have any intention of using the Answering Effigy for their own means is not important. With everyone looking, everyone has a motive to get it in their hands. The value of this artifact is immeasurable. Any poor merchants or hungry thieves looking to rise in the ranks of the Banu Asrar are going to be incentivized to find this and use it to further their own means. It's disheartening to think the Veiled Chamber might be in need of allies. I've discussed the possibility with other high-ranking members, and we've agreed that reaching out to the Ruwad al-Mahjur might be our best option. They're always eager to discover new artifacts and learn everything they can from them. Perhaps there is a world where the two of us can work together, and we allow them time to understand the Answering Effigy without giving it to them entirely. I will work to draft a correspondence suggesting an allegiance. We can only hope they'll find it amenable. Journal of Perla, Shadow Dancer. Word of the chamber questioning members of the Banu Asrar has spread to the city. I worried that perhaps my time would come too. I've worked alongside the Banu Asrar my entire life, raised in the underground after my parents' death. It only made sense that they would come for me. I suppose my unassuming stature and demeanor has been of immeasurable benefit though. I've walked by Veiled Chamber mercenaries dozens of times in the past few days. I bumped shoulders with them in the spice market, lowering my eyes and making myself seem small and afraid. They have no idea of my connection to the Banu Asrar. They don't know what I possess. I have been loyal to the Banu Asrar my entire life. What has that got me? My home is small and I have no chest filled with fulgurite shards. I was promised a life of riches and that has not come to pass. When I learned about this mysterious artifact and saw the way the members of the Banu Asrar were being pulled in for questioning, I made an assumption that the Banu Asrar has their hands on something. When I heard about this mysterious artifact and saw the way the members of the Banu Asrar were being pulled in for questioning, I made an assumption that the Banu Asrar has their hands on whatever this is. I saw an opportunity and I seized it. After all, that is exactly everything I have been taught by the Banu Asrar. Thieving, you see, is all about opportunity. You don't walk into a home with an entire family present to pilfer their fulgurite. You wait, and when opportunity presents itself, you strike. And that's what I did. The judges were curious about the Veiled Chamber's involvement on the streets and brought many of their trusted underlings in for questioning. They needed to know what people were telling the chamber and the specific questions of what the chamber was asking. I don't believe the judges understood what the artifact was for. In fact, I think they were afraid of it. They called me down, and I gave them the little information I had. And instead of leaving, I waited. I waited for my opportunity after all the judges hung their masks on the wall and left the tribunal, assuming they're everyday personas that can walk alongside peasants and aristocrats alike. Actually getting the artifact was not hard. For a people of thieves and assassins, the vaults were surprisingly easy to access. I don't know much grammaturgy, but I know a few glyphs, one of which has been useful in all of my other jobs to help me locate other glyphs and disable them. I used that, carefully navigating around glyphs that would raise alarms for all the judges to return and try me at the tribunal. Some of them were mimetic too. They likely would have driven me insane. But the moment I laid my hands on the artifact, something changed within me. I did not understand the full scope of its creation, but holding it and feeling the life inside of it, I felt powerful and weakened at the same time. I hid it in my bag and snuck out of the chamber as quickly as I could. Upon returning home, I investigated it closer. It spoke to me. I won't begin to assume I understand the full power of this artifact, but I hesitate to even call it that. Are all artifacts living and thinking? Do they have desires in the way this one does? At first, I planned on letting the rumors of these artifacts' disappearance spread, letting the value of it increase by the day until I could get a deal I found worthy of it, and retire comfortably on that fulgurite. But now, I don't know. I'm not sure I can just hand this over to a people that will hold it captive and force it to do their bidding. I simply don't know what I'm going to do. Letter from Adir, son of Getz, coinmaster of the Dar al-Nar, to Nirit, wind seeker, the keeper of tides of the Dar al-Nar. Nirit, today I have received 2 requests from both the Veiled Chamber and the Grand Library of Zahra. It is most peculiar circumstances, but both have requested a temporary shutdown of the Nahj al-Rumuz. I understand you've heard about this allegedly sentient artifact that has all people in the city scrambling to get their hands on it. Many of our members have been keeping their eyes and ears out for any information that could benefit us. Both peoples are offering us generous compensation for our efforts closing down the river. Neither was forthcoming with information about why, but I can only assume it's to ensure this artifact does not leave the walls of the city. We have had our difficulties with the library in the past. They are never particularly warm to our tariffs and taxations, especially when their expeditions are sailing the river and carrying valuable artifacts. But I suggest this offer be considered. I don't believe either people is aware of the other's involvement in shutting down the river. I'm sure they think they are the only ones to come up with this idea, which I think we might be able to use to our benefit. I have attached requests from both to these correspondents. Signed, Adir. Response from Nirit, wind seeker, to Adir, son of Getz. Adir, you are correct. This is most unusual. I shall respond to both letters and accept their proposals, suggesting a 20% increase in fees. Please inform the magistrates at once. They are to halt all transport sales, and guards need to be stationed at outposts along the river to inform incoming shipments. Be sure to speak to all of our workers and let them know that any information about this artifact will be given directly to me and will be rewarded. The odds of us getting our hands on this artifact are slim, but information is sometimes more valuable than anything else. Signed, Nirit. From the Journal of Ezekias, mercenary for the Stormshapers Collective. The Stormshapers Collective hired me to assist with the growing unrest in Union Square, resulting from the Dwarven Labor Union's protest. I've been doing a fine job ever since I was hired, earning my keep every day. So why now are they pulling me from this post? I'd be lying if I said I was not frustrated with the sudden shift of my duties. Now, instead of standing guard outside of Union Square and monitoring the dwarves for any sign of dissension, I'm forced to wander the streets of Zahra endlessly in search of information. The Answering Effigy, whatever that is all anyone seems to be able to speak about. When I inquire and ask about it, information is abundant. The only thing no one seems to know is where it is and who has it. 2 seemingly important details. It's clear that many kinfolk are searching for it. Not even the powerful peoples are alone in this endeavor. Untrained thieves, fishmongers, and spice sellers are all banded together in search of any information they can glean. The Stormshapers have offered an incentive for any of the mercenaries they have tasked with finding information that will lead to its recovery. From what I understand, the Veiled Chamber is the primary source of the search. It makes sense now why the Collective would be so adamant about finding it. If they can get this artifact before the Chamber, they'll have real leverage to force the chamber to recognize them and respect them. So they're using their vast monetary resources and sending out mercenaries who should be working to maintain the growing violence with the Dwarven Labor Union instead of going out and searching. I suppose I can understand that. If they have the resources to sit in their comfortable homes and relax, while others walk the city gaining blisters on their feet, why wouldn't they? As of right now, I have no information that will promise me more fulgurite than what I am being given daily. I only know what everyone else in the city knows. The artifact was stolen from a wealthy citizen and in the hands of the Banu Asrar before being stolen from the thieves themselves. To steal from such thieves is an impressive feat in itself. I should like to meet whoever is capable of that. From the Journal of Rodotheos Shattermind, Master Grammaturge of the Ruwad al-Mahjur. The Answering Effigy is a most curious artifact that the Ruwad al-Mahjur must get their hands on at all costs. How something this peculiar and unorthodox was created right under our noses is unbeknownst to me. I have personally interviewed many kinfolk in the city to gather as much information as possible. That was while it was in the hands of the Banu Asrar. I attempted to strike an allegiance with them. I met with the masked judge, Equity, and had a long conversation with them. They did not know the true meaning of the artifact. I had a sense they might even be afraid of its immense power. Lack of understanding, after all, is the root of most fear. How many wars have been fought because people could not understand? It is the ethos of the Mahjur that we try to understand every facet of our rapidly unraveling world. In those truths, we might be able to fix what has been broken and our species can survive. I do not know if the Answering Effigy could be a remedy to that, but it is not something I can rule out until it is in my hands and I can assess its capabilities with my own eyes. The artifact is sentient. It speaks and can listen, understand context and emotion. It is explained to me that it almost looks like a kinfolk too. Why it was created to look that way, I do not know. Judge Equity would not allow me to see the artifact. I had half a mind to create some sort of a glyph to try to control the judge to get the artifact into my hand, but we were not alone. I might be one of the foremost grammaturgists in all of Aporia, but I could not contend with 5 trained mercenaries and assassins all on my own. Glyphs would only help so much, I am afraid. I attempt to strike a deal with Judge Equity, an alliance that the two of us might work together to better understand this artifact. But they were entirely unwilling to part with it. Not even for a temporary amount of time while supervising me and other scholars within my people. No amount of money seemed to tempt them, as I would expect it to. Their coffers are already quite full from my understanding, and the Answering Effigy is beyond value. But now, it has fallen from their grasp. I'm sure they regret that choice. I do not deny that it tickles me that the self-righteous amongst them are now scrambling like the rest of the city. It does not please me that the Veiled Chamber is searching for this artifact too. They are nothing more than criminals who operate under the guise of law in my eyes. They have too much power in the city, and I shudder to think of what their people might look like with even more power should they get their hands on this artifact. But if I want to see this with my own eyes, they might be my only choice. The resources are vast and veritably unstoppable. If I were a betting man, I would bet every chest of fulgurite the Mahjurs have on the chamber winning this race in the end. Constance Simeon spoke with me directly. Seeing her in my study this morning was a peculiar sight to say the least, but she suggested that the two of us could help each other. Our main interest in the artifact is understanding and studying it. We might not need to use it for the same means the chamber does, so actually possessing it might be a secondary goal to seeing and studying it. Her proposal is that we use our abilities to help them find the Answering Effigy. After it is safely within their grasp, we will be able to send our best scholars to the Black Dais and study it. I do not know if Constance is trustworthy or not. I've grown to be very wary of any member of the chamber, as they tend to serve their own interests above all others. But as of right now, they are our only hope of setting eyes on this sentient artifact. After speaking with other scribes and scholars within our ranks, we've decided to accept her offer. I have assembled some of the best grammaturgists among our people and sent them out to hunt the artifact. Letter from Warden Despina, Lightkeeper of the Guardians of the Vault, to Talia Spirit Delver, Steward of the Adder's Hand. Dear Spirit Delver, I'm sure by now you've heard of the artifact, the Answering Effigy, that has nearly set the streets of Zahra ablaze. Information is plentiful, but valuable information seems rare in these circumstances. As with all arcane artifacts that make their way through the underbelly of the city, I'm sure you are aware of how valuable it is. It is something I have no doubt you would like to obtain for your people's own purposes. The truth of the matter is that we do not know much about this artifact. We know that it is allegedly sentient. We've heard this from members of the Banu Asrar that have been questioned by mercenaries sent out by the Veiled Chamber and Royal Society. But these are not scholars by any means. What does sentient truly mean to them? We understand that your ideology is that artifacts do not belong stashed away in vaults by people who did not create them. You would wish to get your hands on this to give it back to whoever created it. But the Answering Effigy is a peculiar case, I'm sure you will agree. One does not create sentience for selfless means. Without understanding the artifact and its capabilities, we cannot fully understand why it was created. It is with that thought in mind that the Library of Zahra wishes to obtain this artifact. If the rumors we've heard are true, and it is alive, thinking and feeling, then it should not fall into the hands of people who would enslave it. Our peoples both align on this matter. With that sentiment, I propose we work together. We have not always seen eye to eye in the past, but we are willing to overlook past transgressions against our people if you are willing to cooperate with us. There are several artifacts within our vaults that could easily be misplaced. If you were to find these artifacts, nobody would be looking for them. They could be returned to their original owners with ease. What we ask of you in return is to bring the Answering Effigy to us should you find it. I understand that is a complicated request for you to accept. It goes against everything your people stands for. But there is no people in this city better equipped to understand the full weight of these artifacts' existence than the Guardians of the Vault. Not only are our scholars wise and caring, but our vaults are impenetrable. No other people would be able to access the Answering Effigy once stored safely with us. And perhaps, after assessing the true nature of this artifact, it might not even be stored away. If there is a way to use the powers this artifact possesses for bettering this city and Aporia as a whole, we will. You can rest assured that these powers will not be used for nefarious means, which neither of us can say the same for some of the peoples searching for it. This is a lot for you to consider, and I'm not expecting an enthusiastic response foregoing our complicated past. All I ask is that you keep this opportunity in mind. It could be fruitful for us both. Signed, Warden Despina, Lightseeker, Guardian of the Vault. Journal of Perla, Shadow Dancer. I'm trapped in this city filled with people who are on the hunt for this artifact. I've been wise enough to keep my mouth shut for the most part. I haven't told anybody about my venture into the Banu Asrar's vaults, and I definitely have not told them about the sentient artifact I've been keeping in my home. It's only a matter of time before I'm discovered, though. It seems everyone in the city has their own motive for locating this artifact. That means powerful warriors and arcanists are going to be hunting for me soon. I have to figure out what to do with it before it's too late. When I discovered the nature of it, I was curious. I didn't want to use its powers if it was truly sentient and feeling, but I needed to know what it was so I could figure out how much I could get for it. I held my hands out and touched its face. I could feel the magic emanating from the artifact. Dare I say, creature. As I touched it, I felt power thrumming through my veins. My entire body vibrated almost as if I were standing right next to dozens of drummers. The feeling was almost intoxicating, but then I began to commune with it. I could hear its voice in my head and my heart beat like I was carrying its own heart alongside mine. It told me what it wanted. It wants freedom. It was being held in a cage in a wealthy citizen's walls, commissioned to be made by tinkerers and grammaturgists who wanted to lighten the load of their work. They made a slave that they could play off as nothing more than an arcane artifact, something that could be overlooked and used to pursue their own goals without care. How is that fair? They made a life and treated it like an object. Now everyone in the city is hunting for it so they can use it. I don't want to let that happen. I'm going to do whatever I can to make sure the Answering Effigy does not succumb to the whims of a veiled chamber, but I can't do this alone. I have to figure out which people in the city is going to actually help. The best place to glean information in the city is the spice market. I'll have to go there soon to figure out who can help us. From the journal of Rodoteos, Shattermind, Master Grammaturge of the Ruwad al-Mahjur. A wormling in the spice market has overheard a name that has every leader of every people in the city rushing to discover. Parla, a name that is not uncommon in the city. We have dispensed many of our grammaturgists to search for her, some of whom have been accompanied by mercenaries hired by the chamber. With the chamber's resources, they have obtained a list of addresses with potential culprits. We did not know the importance of the name right away. Who were they in relation to the artifact? We received a report not long after that information was recovered. Perla shadow dancer, no known job or family in the city. Her home was sparse and she seemed to live a rather unassuming life. A life that would benefit a criminal, no doubt. A journal was found hidden under a wooden floorboard that confirms she is involved with the Banu Asrar. Not only that, she had in fact seen the artifact, taking it from their vaults. She was nowhere to be found within the confines of her home. Her journal mentioned that she was searching for allies. Someone she could give the artifact to that would treat it properly. Our guess was that she would take it to the other's hand, as they're the bleeding hearts of the city. Grammaturgists on the scene left several mimetic glyphs that will impact the mind of whoever else went searching in that home. It could potentially even impact Parla herself if she were to return. But I suspect a thief as savvy as herself would assume something was happening and finding her once again might be complicated. Nevertheless, we have eyes on her home. If she returns, we will be alerted and we can apprehend her to inquire more. In the meantime, anyone else who purchases this information from the Horde Keepers and goes to visit her will soon forget it. That gives us quite the upper hand. From the journal of Alekos, Weft Weaver, Herald of the Circle of 1,000 Treads. The Malik is intent on this artifact being obtained quickly. He's heard rumors around the city about how powerful it is and how many different peoples are looking for it. He is also angry that this has derailed the attention to his son's coming-of-age celebration. So much happened under the guise of those festivities that he wants to seek some sort of retribution. By focusing on the artifact, the Answering Effigy as it is known, we are determined to obtain it. Every people in the city is searching for it. They want it so they can understand it and potentially use its powers to understand the fate of our world and fight back against the unraveling. We cannot allow it to fall into the hands of would-be saviors. They would use this irresponsibly. A power like this already has been created, yes. Giving sentience to an artifact like this might have been a mistake. But this new technology should not be used by just anyone. Who better to learn about this technology than the Malik? He can use this to maintain order in the city and keep it running efficiently. It does not need to be studied and learned from like other kinfolk believe it should. It is a tool, and that is all. Rumors of it having thoughts and feelings are spreading like wildfire. I am positive this is sensationalized more than anything else. We are desperately searching for any clues that can lead us to this artifact. The biggest challenge we have is the Circle of 1,000 Threads is not large, especially not compared to the Guardians of the Vault or the Veiled Chamber. And those of us who can be spared to look are not particularly well equipped for interrogation and more mercenary behavior. That is why we have reached out to the Barakin. They're a desert tribe who are some of the noblest of all kinfolk. They are the storm dancers who understand the magic of our universe in ways none of us can even dream of. They're strong and noble, valiant fighters. With them on our side, I am confident we can gain the upper hand in the city-wide search for the Answering Effigy. The chief of their tribe, Antea Lightning Catcher, has been leading groups of her tribe through the city. We only barely managed to get them through the walls before the Dar al-Nar shut down the river. Watching the tribe is illuminating. They are mighty warriors. They might not be skilled in interrogation to gain information through diplomacy, but what they lack there, they make up for in combat prowess. We have guided them to the helpful magic of the Weft, to locations and kinfolk we believe would have information. I had the honor of accompanying the Lightning Catcher to a spice market where the Weft guided us. We found a wormling in his shop, sitting patiently with the small spirit of his dragon companion. The Weft had told us he had information, that there was something he knew about the Answering Effigy. It's not surprising, because the Horde Keepers are not only skilled in trading spices and goods, but also information. A number of conversations happen around their stalls in the market square, and they always have their ears open for whatever they can peddle to whoever might be willing to spend fulgurite to obtain it. Antea was marvelous as she cornered him and demanded he tell her everything he knew. He tried to bargain with her to get some fulgurite out of it, but she held his throat with a vice-like grip, not leaving until he shared. The information he gave us could prove to be very valuable. A name, Parala. He overheard her speaking to a man, but with the shutters on his shop closed, he could not see who. When we left, I brought the name to the seamstress of the circle. She is going to bring it to the Weft and use it to obtain anything else we can about the pattern unfolding around us. The future of the artifact is already in the loom, but we might be able to manipulate the stitching in our favor. From the Journal of Judge Redress of the Banu Asrar Tribunal. One of our underlings was brought back to us in shambles this evening. His body was fine, but his mind was broken. He did not know his own name, much less why he was out in the city and why he could not remember anything. We showed his face to other kinfolk in the Banu Asrar to see if anyone recognized him. When finally we found someone, they went to his home to obtain any journals they could so we could attempt to revive the man's memory. The journals were not promising. It seems he did not document much of the information he knew, which is unfortunate. What happened to him is the reason we recommend everyone keep their own journals. The only thing we understand is that he purchased a piece of information from a hoard keeper in one of the souks. They gave him a name, Parla. The final journal entry mentioned how he planned on visiting her home in search of the Answering Effigy. After that, his mind broke. We can assume there was some sort of glyph that interfered with his ability to think. The name Parla is familiar. Surely there is more than one in the city, but we have one amongst us. One who, according to our ledgers, would have been questioned by us after the Veiled Chamber realized Ismail was stolen from. It puts this Parla within the proximity of the vault when the Answering Effigy was stolen. The evidence points to her stealing from us. Now we must find her before anyone else does. The hoard keeper who sold the man that information has likely sold it to others. If anyone from another people finds her, they can take the Answering Effigy from her before we have a chance to. But even if the artifact is gone, we must find her and try her for her crimes against us. After taking something of such value, we will not be lenient. Others among our ranks need to know that we are not to be trifled with. From the journal of Constance Simeon, Arbiter of the Veiled Chamber. The Barakeen warriors in the city seem to be withdrawing from their search. That almost assuredly takes the circle of 1,000 treads out of this race. It seems they have fallen prey to some glyphs that have completely altered the minds of their kinfolk. The circle might be able to see the future their precious loom provides them, but they're too fixated on that to see what's in front of them. I write this with a smile on my lips now, knowing that Rodoteos Shadowmind of the Ruwad al-Mahjur did at the home of Perla Shadow Dancer. It's impressive how a simple glyph can impact your foes. The only lead about the location of the artifact is regarding her. After realizing that other kinfolk have gone to her house, I spoke with Shattered Mind, and he plans on sending one of his underlings to the spice market to visit the wormling the information was obtained from. They're going to make sure he does not give that information to anyone else. As far as he is aware, though, we are still on the hunt for the artifact. We have mercenaries knocking on doors and dragging members of the Banu Asrar into the Black Dais once again to question. Our deal seems to be in place. What we have not told him is that we have the artifact now. With the name, it was easy enough to find Perla Shadow Dancer. We have our own web of workers who are willing to do anything, sell any information, if it means they can have some fulgurite. Shadow Dancer might have been cunning when she stole the artifact from the Banu Asrar. She might have pulled the wool over all our eyes for a short time, hiding in plain sight, but she was foolish enough to be walking around with the most valuable artifact in the history of Zahra stashed in a rucksack. The moment we apprehended her and searched her, we found it. It felt like a vice was removed from my chest, gripping my heart, seeing it held in my own hands. Ismail does not know it is returned to us. We cannot let him lose the artifact once again. Once proven incompetent, it's difficult to change that. Not many of the chamber are aware it is in our hands now. I intend to keep it that way as long as possible. We must secure it as much as we can, protect it, understand it. It is important that we ensure it does not escape us once more. The more kinfolk looking for it, the better. Perla is being held in our chamber, so nobody is going to find her to ask about what happened. As of right now, the only clue any kinfolk has is her name, and we're going to get rid of that entirely. The Mahjur are going to be looking for her, and they will never find her. Soon enough, every kinfolk is going to give up on the hunt for this artifact. It's a matter of time. It's going to be assumed that someone in the city has it, but they're not saying, or it has left the city or been destroyed. Then when it fades from the collective minds of us all, we can begin using the Answering Effigy for our own means. Until then, I will be keeping up the facade. We can't have anyone being suspicious. But I am truly elated that it is back within our reach. With this artifact, the Veiled Chamber is more powerful than ever. Journal of Talia, Spirit Delver, Steward of the Adder's Hand, dated 2 weeks later. The search for the Answering Effigy has not stopped. Every peoples has been searching effortlessly, desperate to get their hands on this sentient creature. All of them wish to use it for their own means, to use the powers it might be able to control the masses and situate themselves among the highest ranking, most powerful of the city. The idea that something with its own thoughts and feelings could be used for such means is sickening. I desperately want to obtain it. I do not know what would have happened if we did. Our goal as a people is to return magical artifacts to their rightful owners, but this should not have an owner. It should not be enslaved and used as it someday will. We had a lead, a woman who said she knew where it was. She met with Stuart Royce in a hidden alleyway of the spice markets and planned to join him in the library to discuss it more. She never arrived. Alas, I have given up hope that it is still out there. I'm sure someone else has it in secret right now. My guess would be the Veiled Chamber. They are one of the most well-funded and far-reaching peoples in the city. So when I noticed their mercenaries being removed, few were on the streets asking questions. It struck me as odd. Why would they, some of the most ambitious among us, stop searching when every other kinfolk is still looking? The only answer I can surmise is they know something we don't. I believe it's in their hands. They have no reason to feel comfortable enough to end this search if they did not have it. We will be looking for it, or at least maintain the facade that we are. But I myself and many of the other stewards of the Adder's Hand will be looking deeper at the chamber. Perhaps this could be an advantageous position for us. If they believe they have fooled us all and still see us looking, they might not see us coming from the shadows as we steal it from them. The only thing I know right now for certain is that we must take it from them. We cannot let them use it for their own means, whatever that might be. We will save this creature from their hands if it's the last thing we do. There you have it, a detailed account of the search for the Answering Effigy that you have no doubt seen unfolding all around you. It began 2 weeks ago when the artifact was stolen, and it has since died down only a little bit. But now you all know, and the chaos in the city can finally be resolved. No more banging on doors and dragging kinfolk in for questioning about people who may or may not know about the artifact. It is currently in the hands of the Veiled Chamber, being hidden by none other than Constance Simeon. We do not know what they plan on doing with it, but we can inquire. Now that it is public knowledge, perhaps the artifact will be obtained by another people, or we as a collective can demand to know more. Surely a power this grand is important for the public to be aware of. But I will leave you with, as I always do, a question. Is something like this ours to control? Do we have a right to fight over an object that has its own thoughts and motivations? Personally, I think the Adder's Hand has it right this time. This is a being, not an item. Why should one people be able to control it when it should have autonomy over itself? This account is now entered into the record of the Hall of Echoes. Some of what you have heard tonight is confirmed. Some remains disputed. All of it has been preserved because silence too alters the future. Yet what reaches the Hall of Echoes is only part of the story. Beyond these public accounts, private conversations continue among those who keep watch over Zahra's future. Those who wish to step beyond the gallery may join these conversations through the library's public ledger at patreon.com/echoes of Aporia. Choose your place among Zahra's many peoples. Hear what the public is not meant to hear. Take part in the conversations that shape which stories endure and which are forgotten. Notes from these symposiums and information about our world can be found in the realms of Instagram, Facebook, and Blue Sky. And if this account proves worth remembering, carry it with you. Share it with others. Repeat it faithfully where knowledge is needed. The hall exists so that truth may travel further than silence. I am Idris Nahir, Keeper of Echoes for the Library of Zahra.
No return, no brave stay, no new homes where third sides play, no great heroes, no last stand. Leave the place, take who you can. First you watch and second you go. Third you never choose to know. The world warns soft before it screams. It eats the bold who miss the seams. Those who listen, live and tell songs of places that fell to hell.